Hello.
We are the tribe from the north, we're brave and we're bold. Defeating our rivals never gets old. Making our way to the Big Sky Conference. Watch out, 'cause here comes the silver and gold. Whoa, whoa. This is Tubbs at the Club for the Vandals of Idaho.
Hi, how are you guys doing? It's been a little bit now. I'm just here doing, as the title says, recapping the first 3 games of the season. It was an interesting experience. I wouldn't say experience is the right word to use. It was that showed a lot of the first couple of weeks. It showed a lot of the team. I learned a lot, both positive, negatives, and just it showed both what I kind of thought would, I wouldn't say happen is the right word, but just showing what the that's what I'm looking for. Just showing what they're doing well, what they're not doing well, and what they need to improve upon. And it was quite the experience. Today was quite the opening. I don't want to say eye-opening is the right word, but just show that there is still some issues and kinks to work out, and they will hopefully get them figured out sooner, to get them figured out before the Big Sky Conference games start rolling around. Sorry, I'm just reaching for words here that I shouldn't be, that I should know the answer to. But yeah, it's a Sunday afternoon. Just came back from a game, and we're gonna have some fun recapping these first 3 games. But before I get started, moving along, Tubbs the Club is sponsored by Hughes River Expedition. If you are looking for a great all-inclusive week-long vacation, don't look past your backyard. Venture into the largest protected wilderness in the continental United States, located right here in the great state of Idaho. Enjoy a multi-day trip down the Middle Fork of the main Salmon River of no return, the Salmon River Canyon, or the Selway, and you can even check out special trips like the one to see the Perside meteor shower, camp on pristine beaches, run amazing whitewater, hike scenic trails, spot wildlife, soak in beautiful natural hot springs, take in the history along the river, and fish some of the most remote stretches of the river in the country. You just bring your clothes and let HRE handle the rest. Hughes River Expedition is vandal-owned and operated since 1976 and ready to take you on a vacation of a lifetime. What are you waiting for? Find out what it's like to grab a paddle, catch a dinner, and ride the bull throughout the Gem State. Catch them now at 800-262-1882 or check them out at hughesriver.com. Now, moving along to the first, as you can see on the schedule, they've won 2 games. Whitman won was a exhibition game, so it doesn't count against the schedule. Starting off that one, it was a lot. It to me seemed a lot closer. Sorry, to get distracted here. It was a lot closer than what. It was a lot closer than this. I kind of thought, to me, it was a lot closer than the score line suggested. 14 points. The Whitman, as some of you might know, as some might know, may not know, is coached by Michelle Friends. That would be Michaela Friends' mom, and I think her dad is a coach on the team and is also a coach on the team. So they've also are a really good D3 team. So that was a tough test It was a good team to schedule for an exhibition game, because they gave you the test that you needed for the regular test you need before getting your regular season started to work out some stuff, and they played Idaho well for the most part. They I can't remember what the score was at halftime. I think Idaho was up by 1, and even at some points, Whitman was even ahead by for small stretches. But in the end, Whitman went a little cold, and Idaho just got hot at the right time, and they pulled everything. They pulled everything out. What's the word I'm looking for here? Idaho made the shots they needed to when it counted at the end, and they pulled away, and Idaho won the game rather comfortably. It was a very close. It was close, and it showed that there were still some, I'd say, issues to fix out there. So there were things to figure out, and they did that rightfully so. Sorry. Moving along to the LCS, to lose to Clark State game, this game they figured out a lot. It was kind of a good first game to start your regular season out with, get a good easy win, and they did. Idaho led wire to wire, and they shot lights out, and they broke the record for most threes made in the game, which I didn't even realize that was only 20. I thought it was more with when both Taylor Pierce and Michaela Friends are playing. I thought they made more, but alas, I was wrong about that. And they played a near perfect game today. If you're watching this on YouTube, if not, I'll try and describe it to you a little bit. They 19-8 in the first quarter, still shot a little cold, but still getting things started, little first game jitters. Second quarter, 34-12, outscored to lose LCSC 34-12. Third quarter, 27-12, and then fourth quarter, 15-14. And that fourth quarter, I think, for stretches, they were playing all 5 fresh. Sorry about the coughing. They played all 5 freshmen: Jordan Allred, Madison Rubino, Ashlyn Wallace, McKenna Jacqueline, and Skylar B all on the court at the same time, which I thought was kind of cool to see. They still held LCSC to 14 points. Further, they played well. What am I trying to look at here? This game, like, some of the players played, like, they're the players you'd expect to play well. I wouldn't say didn't. They didn't need to. They didn't need to play a near perfect game in order for Idaho to win. Everybody got on the court. Everybody played. It was a good game. You didn't need your big name players. Like, you didn't need your Beyonce's to be all out, taking the what's the word I'm looking for? Like, just taking over a game and just dictating what happens. You didn't need that to happen. You had other players like Louise Forsyth, Sydney Gandy, Jordan Allred, a freshman, even playing well above what I expected for a first game of the season. But they played well. They did what I would have expected them to do for a game like a team like LCS. You work on your fundamentals, you play your players, you do everything you want, you do anything you want, and you get your depth players some playing time. So then when it gets time to, say, middle of February, middle of January, and you need your Idaho and your main players aren't playing well, you can turn to them and be like, yeah, I trust them to go make plays, trust them to get the buckets, play good defense, and just have a good all around good game for them and play meaningful minutes. This one was kind of like I said, I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself. I'm still trying to work out the rest, so bear with me for a second as I try and get my thoughts ahead of me. They played well. It was a good first game. They did everything you want them to do, and you did everything you want them to do, and you had good games. But I think the most surprising to me so far was just how comfortable and confident some of the freshmen that were playing in this game were. They played well. They played like they've been there before, and they did not look like freshmen out on the court today. Not the court today. Out on the court for that first regular season game. And it showed me that there's still, even with the players they lost, they still have some good players coming back. They still have good depth coming. They might have their issues. That doesn't mean that they're going to have them. They'll be fine throughout them coming forward. And I think the biggest, I won't say biggest surprise, the biggest, even as I, Mr. Power of Positivity, like to always be at some points, was surprised by just how well I think Louis Forsyth played today. I keep wanting to say today, sorry. Played in the first game. It was, I think, and I should have expected this after last year with having Gabby Harrington the way she played for Idaho. I should have expected better. I should have expected more from them. And I didn't. But either way, it's great to have her on the team. She is playing everything you want for someone that has not played for Idaho before. Now moving on to the game that just happened. This wrapped up about an hour and a half. I'll say about an hour ago now ish. This game was not. This LCSC game was not the LC. This was San Diego game was ugly. I take that back. It wasn't ugly. It was more Idaho did not shoot well at all this game. They did not, as if you're watching on YouTube, you might be able to see. They shot 16 for 53 from the field, 16 for 53, and San Diego shot 26 of 62, but they were shooting 50. San Diego was shooting north of right at 50% for most of the first half. Actually, I'd say all of the first half. Most of sorry, and then most of the first half, and they kept it right around there for most of the second half, but it dipped a little bit just with getting your depth, getting some misses and stuff like that, but not too much. And it was just as I had tweeted, they just did not look. Nothing just seemed to want to go their way, and it was never a point. And again, as I like to be more Mr. Positivity, it seems like if you know me on Twitter and in the Discord, Idaho never led in this game. They got out. If you're seeing this on YouTube, again, if you're watching the video, Idaho got out rebounded. They got out both offensively and defensively. It was never a close game. It was like they were just in a funk Idaho was just in a funk that they could never get themselves out of, which sucked. But it was not something I wouldn't stress too much, worry about. They have had those games in the past. I want to say they had one against. They had a game like that. I want to say against Idaho State last year, where they lost by 20, and they came back the next game and won by 5 or 7. I can't remember the exact score. I wouldn't say, don't think of this as the sky is falling. Idaho's going to be last in the conference. Just take this as everything went right for San Diego, and for the most part, nothing. Yeah, I'd say nothing went well right for Idaho today. I'm sorry, I am. Nothing went right for Idaho today, and it was just a. It just was not a good performance. But they did show show that they can. And I think, as I tweeted at halftime of the game, they'll make halftime adjustments and hopefully make it more competitive. And they did have some stretches where they did outscore. Idaho played a much better defense in the second half, only giving up 21 points in the second half, which is good to see. They made those halftime adjustments, but just could not make the shots. It was just a bad shooting day for Idaho, and they were not. No matter who was in there, was not making anything today. But again, players they played well. They still competed. It didn't seem like they gave up with where I was watching on courtside. When I was watching courtside, it didn't seem like they were giving up. They were still giving each other. They weren't trying to point if they were making mistakes or giving turnovers. It wasn't like they were trying. They were yelling at each other to be like, "Oh, you made the mistake. You suck." They were trying to be like, "Hey," they were not pointing the finger at each other, is what I'm trying to say. They showed that they can. They're still a good team. They'll make the adjustments and they'll be fine in the long run. Nothing to worry about. It'll all be fine in the end of the regular season. They'll have this funky game, but then they'll come back and they'll be fine in the end of the season. This is what the out of conference is. They'll be fine. Nothing to worry about. And again, it was just, and even with the 20-point loss, you still, I think I'm repeating myself. I'm sorry. I'm repeating myself. I'm trying to get better at it. It was just they played well in the second half. They showed that they can make those adjustments and not have such a leaky defense that'll lead to 45 points in the second half. Yeah, 45 points in the first half. They did not have that. They shut them down and played well. And that is nothing to worry about in the end of the game. Next up, they play, if I can remember this right, Washington State on next Sunday. I hope to see some of y'all there, maybe. I don't know. I know I'll be there. I know I have to get out of work a little early, but I'll make sure I'm there. I'll make sure I'm there. That is their last home game before. Let me get this right. Well, a home game before they come back home December 30th to play Northern Arizona. Open up Big Sky Conference play. For them, they play in the Nugget Classic against San Francisco, Nevada, and Drake. Play a Big Sky game in the beginning of December against Southern Utah at Southern Utah. Travel down to Texas to play Texas in Austin, and then they play in sunny Hawaii against Oregon State and Northern Iowa. So those will be two fun games against two tournament teams. But they'll be fine. Don't worry. Nothing to worry about. The sky's not falling, even though today was a bit of a clunker of a game. They'll be fine at the end of the season. They'll be fine. Nothing to worry about. And as always, go Vandals.